Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to this course on energy systems for sustainable buildings. In this course, we'll be discussing about the energy efficient buildings, solar heating and cooling methods, green buildings, ways of minimization, and other techniques. Energy minimization and other techniques. So, when we say energy efficient buildings, it means buildings that consume very less energy, and in turn, also, there is no compromise in the comfort level of human beings present in the building, as well as maximizing the performance of devices, that is, energy devices. So, this is possible only when we implement sustainable practices and technologies to reduce the impact on the environment as well as lower the operational cost. So once again, I would like to repeat that is energy efficient building means the energy consumption of the building should be very less, provided there is no compromise on the comfort level of human beings present inside the building, as well as the performance of the energy devices should be high. So this is possible only by utilizing some sustainable technologies and practices which will have a positive impact on the environment as well as reduced operational cost. So, what are the benefits of energy efficient design? Before that, when we look at the current scenario, the total energy that is consumed by the buildings on a global scale is about 40%. That is, out of 100% of total energy, 40% is consumed by buildings itself. And not only this consumption, they also contribute to one third of global CO2 emission. So this is again going to be a negative impact. So we definitely have to design an energy efficient building. So the first is lower utility bills. Our EB bill should be lesser and the saving should be more over a period of time. The next is environmental sustainability. That is, as I told you, the CO2 emission should be less, and then the indoor comfort level should be higher. That is, during the daylight, we should be able to the building should be able to provide sufficient lighting, that is natural light should enter your building, temperature should be within controlled scales, and the air quality inside the building should also be good. If all these three are satisfied, then definitely the property value is going to raise. So these are the benefits of going for an energy efficient design. Now, how this design is possible? It's possible only by two methods. The first is passive method and the second is active method. When we look at the passive method, we can use solar orientation, shading and overhangs, and then thermal mass. So, what is the solar orientation? The building can be built in such a way that it is on the north south facing or in the east west facing. So, the orientation will mainly determine whether the maximum exposure to the sun is possible in the winter and minimum exposure to the sun is possible in the summer. This is called a solar orientation. Fine. The next is window technologies and glazings. And then we have the shadings and overhangs. So, what are the shadings and overhangs? Sunlight that is entering to the building will be controlled if we have a window shade and through some strategic designs. The next is thermal mass, that is, the material which is used to construct the building should be able to store the heat as well as release the heat depending on the situation. That is, in other words, the temperature has to be regulated. So, this is called as thermal mass. So, when I say passive methods, these three, any one of these three, or even all the three can be implemented. In addition to that, we have something called as insulation and air sealing. So insulation, main purpose of insulation is to reduce the heat transfer, and this heat transfer occurs through the walls, ceilings as well as the floors. So when we use an air leakage, that is preventing an air leakage or minimized energy loss, we are able to accomplish the air sealing. The next is building envelope. The entire shell of the building, that is the walls, roof and foundation, are properly insulated. So you get a thorough insulation. So these are the other insulation strategies. Now, so far, whatever we have seen, they come under passive methods. Now, this high efficiency is possible only by active methods. So, active methodologies are heat pump, the first one. So, when I say pump, it is a device which is used to pump heat from one area and give it out in the another area. In other words, it will have a very good operating energy efficiency. So, this is called as heat pump. The second is variable speed HVAC, that is heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Adjustable fans and compressor speeds is required to ensure very good comfort and very good energy use. So this is variable speed HVAC. Nowadays we can see the star rating for energy levels in the various electrical equipments that we purchase, electronic equipments, be it an AC or a refrigerator. So we can see a 4 star or a 5 star, right? So that is done by the energy department only. So when I say variable speed HVAC, it will adjust the fan as well as the compressor speed. Then the third category is smart thermostats. It is based on the usage pattern. The thermostats, they will optimize the temperature level, and these thermostats are also programmable. Okay, and finally we have geothermal systems. We are very much aware of geothermal energy, that is utilizing the energy which is available below the earth's level. So that energy can be processed and used for producing heat, heating the building, or water heating or space heating inside the building. So that is called as geothermal system. So these four comes under the category of active methods to achieve energy efficient buildings. The next is renewable energy integration. So, renewable energy is using solar and wind energy. When we directly use the solar energy to convert it into electricity, and that is done by a solar photovoltaic cell. The second is if the same sunlight is used for heating water or the airspace inside the building, then you call it a solar thermal utilization. And the last one you have the wind energy, wind turbines. That is here the electricity is generated from the wind power. So these are renewable energy integration with the existing building. So this can be made possible either in newly constructed buildings, so that we can call it as a smart building, or even in the old constructed building, the solar voltaics can be installed in the terraces, and therefore we can account for some amount of energy consumption which comes directly from the electricity grid. And not only refer to the energy level consumption but also the water conservation as well as waste disposal. So when I say water conservation, it is possible by fitting low flow fixtures. Here you can see a shower on the right hand side. So this will enable less water consumption, and there are also other faucets which provide this low flow methods. The second one is rainwater harvesting. There should be some provision for collecting the rainwater, and which in turn can be used for irrigation and other uses like for gardening. The next is grey water system, that is recycling the wastewater that comes after usage through sinks and showers. But that recycled water cannot be used for potable applications but for some other non potable uses. The last is seriscaping. Here, the landscaping techniques which are comfortable for drought tolerant plants. When I say drought plants, these are plants that are capable of being grown in dry conditions. So, when drought tolerant is, the landscaping can be done accordingly so that even if the water drains out, those plants are capable of growing well with that minimum flow of water. So, these are water conservation techniques. So, how this possibility of sustainable building is expected is, the first one is we have to evaluate the existing building condition, whether there is a scope for improving the energy saving levels, what is the current energy that is being consumed by the building, and the second is monitoring and tracking the progress, that is how much is energy consumption, and what if we implement some other method and really there is a potential for adaptation to this method. The third is educating and engaging, that is public should be created awareness of this energy efficiency and encourage them to adopt to these methods. And also if there are any research and development in these areas, in these technologies, that can be used. So these are all the possible ways of achieving energy efficient buildings. So when I say energy efficient building, the concept is very clear. That is, there should be enough shelter and safety. That is the foremost purpose of designing a building. The second, the comfortable level indoor should be good. That is, there should be thermal comfort, visual comfort, air quality should be good, and the noise level should be less. And it should also meet the social expectations, government standards, as well as the social standards. So, energy efficient building concepts, it refers to bioclimatic architecture, that is the shape and orientation of the building, whether there is passive methods, passive solar systems, or solar protections for the building. The second is high performing building envelope. When I say the entire building is being enveloped, it means we definitely have to use some glazing technologies and window technologies so that there are good insulation, that is thorough insulation. And the last is high performance controlled ventilation. So this is possible with mechanical insulation and heat recovery methods. So here you can see a flow chart which will summarize the various possibilities of achieving good efficiency in buildings. The first is super insulation. When I say super insulation, entire insulation, that is thermal insulation of the wall as well as pressurization of the wall. And the second one is controlled ventilation with heat recovery. That is how we are going to control the ventilation through heat recovery methods, that is low transmission losses. Then the third is optimization of energy consumption. First, we'll have to carry out energy audit study. That is, find out what is the energy consumption at present and how this energy can be managed or how it can be minimized. Then the last is using smart devices. When I say smart devices, that is intelligent control sensors. You can use renewable energy or, as told earlier, the rated, okay, a 4 star or high star rated equipments can be used. So these are all energy efficient appliances itself. So by using good appliances, you can achieve the energy efficiency. So these are the four wide categories of energy efficiency in buildings. Now you can always classify the buildings into four categories, that is low energy building, passive energy building, zero energy building, and plus energy building. So the first one is type 0, that is standard building. Here any building that is constructed to meet only the minimum building standard, it does not uh, cater into the needs of energy efficiency requirement, then you call it as a standard building. Then you have the type 1 building, that is a low energy building. A low energy building, it consumes 50% of the energy needed by a standard building, whereas the remaining 50% is saved, and this saving is possible by proper insulation and windows, and of course the heat recovery system also. So this is called as low energy building. The next is passive energy building. Here you can see the consumption is reducing from 50% to 25% compared to that of a standard building. Say if a standard building is consuming 100 kilowatt hour, here it will be taking only 25 kilowatt hour. So the consumption is saved by 75 kilowatt hour. So this is actually possible by keeping the building warm by the energy generated in the building, and there is no separate heating system other than the heat recovery ventilation. So there is no separate heating system. The third category is actually very good, that is a zero energy building. Here the net energy consumption is actually zero. In other words, the carbon emission from this building is also zero annually. So they can be independent of the energy grid supply. They are not reliable on the electricity, that is power electric grid. The last is the plus energy building. So this is again similar to that of a passive building only, but the additional thing is they have energy sources, that is renewable energy sources, which are solar or wind energy. Right? So low energy, passive energy, zero energy, and plus energy. These are the four main categories. So the main difference between these four categories are the energy consumption will vary, and in addition to that, whether we have a renewable source or whether we have a heat recovery ventilation or it is simply a building insulation. So this matters. Here you can see a picture of a building which has got maximum number of uh, energy. So here you can see the picture of an energy efficient building that has got maximum technologies, that is renewable technologies. So here you can see a solar PV system that is on the panel. There's a solar panel on the roof of this building, and when we look at the toilet, there is a dual flush toilet. So this is again water conservation method, and hot water recirculation is possible. That is using the solar thermal energy to heat the water, and that is again recirculated. And high efficiency water heating system. And here you can use see the adopter of Energy Star appliances, and then is the energy efficient heating and cooling system. Here we have high efficient lighting methods. So nowadays we see the LED bulbs And this is grey water recycling, that is water recyclation, which is used for non-potable uses. And again, solar thermal, which is used to heat water as well as a space. And here we have a wind turbine, that is rainwater harvesting, as well as natural landscaping, that is for drought-free plants. And then we have a compost, that is waste management. So all these technologies incorporated, this entire picture is an example of a smart building or a sustainable building. Here you can, I've collected few pictures that will help you understand the passive methods. That is, this is actually enough lighting for the building. So here you can see the window glazing throughout the building. There is window glazing, so this will ensure maximum exposure to sunlight during the daytime. And here, this is the solar panel which is mounted on the rooftops. Here you can see the wind energy, again a source of energy, alternate energy, renewable energy. So that will minimize the dependency on the power grid. And here you have house with solar water heating. So solar water heating, these are the solar panels which takes in the solar heat, and this thermal heat is used to heat the water, and that water is being circulated for various applications inside the house. Here the solar power which is used to drive the entire energy requirement. Here you can see there is an electrical power grid. So electricity is imported from this power grid and used in this home. The solar panel here, it actually converts the sunlight into clean green DC electricity. So whatever electricity that is required for the for running the gadgets will be utilized, and the excess electricity will be actually exported to the power grids, and later this will be added to your credit in your account, that is electricity account. So that's how this power system in building is operated. And here you can see a solar operated vapor absorption system. So when I say a vapor absorption system, an absorbent liquid is being used, so that is being vaporized, and when it enters this circulation panel inside the solar collector, it gets heated up. It actually absorbs the heat, and again it passes through the condenser and expansion valve, and therefore this cycle gets repeated. So the main difference between a conventional building, I'm summarizing the entire content of this PPT now. The main difference between the conventional building and an energy efficient building is that the conventional building is not having any energy saving techniques. But though it was meant for that purpose, it doesn't mean that any other methods cannot be implemented in future. Definitely we can implement. So the cost of this building and the energy spent is definitely high, and it is fully dependent on external energy sources. Whereas the energy efficient buildings, they have a very good efficient design, and the energy efficiency levels are high. The cost of the building is low, and their dependency on the external energy sources is partially reduced. So these 8 points are important when we say green buildings. That is low maintenance and operational cost, energy efficiency should be high, indoor environmental quality, which mainly refers to the air quality, should be improved, water efficiency should be targeted, and good health, material efficiency, better environment, and reduced strain. So a building that possesses all these characteristics, we call it as a green building, and this is really an investment that will guarantee a very bright future. Thank you. We shall meet in the next topic of the energy systems and sustainable buildings. Thank you so much.